everything else is superfluous. Oh, okay. Suraj, are you tracking?
Yes.
You missed.
No, we are tracking.
We are okay. I hope so. Who's that we?
We have online format.
Okay. Reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. This is chapter 6 entitled Dhyana Yoga. Text 37. And we already read the text, no? Didn't read the purport. Did you read the purport?
No.
No. Okay. Arjuna Vacha Ayati Shadayo Veto Yoga Chalitamanasaha Aprapya Yoga Samsiddhim Kam Gatim Krishna Gacchati. Arjuna said, "O Krishna, what is the destination of the unsuccessful transcendentalist, who in the beginning takes to the process of self-realization with faith, but who later desists due to worldly mindedness and thus does not attain perfection in mysticism?" So what were the points? Yes, what were the points in the last discussion?
Prabhuji, in starting you said about independent mentality, we should not be independent. Give an example of a brahmachari of Mayapur going to three, and Srila Prabhupada said that it's better that it's good that they went for a real yatra, but they will not get any.
Okay, so we should not have, well, let's put it this way, overly independent mentality. We should follow Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. No? It's nice we perform some devotional activities, but if they're not guided by Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, we don't get fal. Mantrastu nishfal mataha. You're not connected to some pradaya. All of your so-called devotion really won't result in any benefit. Really, not much. People who think I'm practicing spiritual life at home, I'm chanting, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. If it's not guided properly, and in an authorized way, there's not going to be much benefit. You can do that for many, many, many lifetimes. So one has to better confirm and be guided, because we might be doing so many good things, one sense, fine, but we might be doing so many wrong things, which will put an obstacle to our bhakti, and that's why we won't advance. So we shouldn't maintain this overly independent mentality. Be very cautious about it. Okay, so what else? Yes.
Whatever activity on material platform, if it isn't complete, it will be a failure, but spiritual threads it, carry it forward.
Okay, so on material platform, whatever is done, well, let's say it doesn't have to be a failure, but it will be short-lasting. Okay, and then?
Arjuna asked a rational question, he was not using a business mentality, but it's a rational question of what if it makes one should not have that business mentality.
Okay, we talked about not having a business mentality of practicing spiritual life to gain something material, right? And Arjuna asked a rational question. Yes, it's a rational wish. We definitely don't want to begin something that we are not sure whether we will complete and get benefit from this, no? Have to be cautious, really. This is very serious. And I want reports later on. And feedback, it's very essential. It would be nice if we do this. Very. Okay, so anything else? Yeah.
We should forget two things. The one what we have given in charity, and second, the person our offended.
Okay, we should forget two things: what we give in charity and who had offended us. What else?
We said about that our mind is very calculative. We always want something in return after investing that time, energy, and resources.
Mind always wants something back as a profit. Yes, that's material mind. Okay. Any other last point? What?
About three types of charity, like in the different modes of.
Okay, we spoke about charities. Okay, we spoke about this mentality of doing something and just want it for return. What if in spiritual life you don't get what you expected? Then what kind of position is that? What if in spiritual life, how many of you have come here and have expectation? How many are practicing this process and having some kind of expectation? Please raise your hand. Don't look at anybody. I'm asking everybody individually. Don't look at others. Why looking at him? So, what's your problem? You don't have a, you know. Huh? You have some expectation? Yeah, okay. You don't have any expectation. So then, raise your hand. Keep it up for some time. Little exercise. You don't have any expectation. You do. Okay. What happened today? Was such a bad day you had to come to temple? No, then. Favor you last few months. Anyway, okay. Okay, we'll talk later. So everybody has some kind of expectation, no? But that expectation can vary from positive to negative. Positive in the sense of having some spiritual expectation, what it's promised actually. There are many Shruti falls. Said if you practice spiritual life, this is what you're gonna get. Even if it points straight to Krishna Prema. We do have some expectation. We want to gain something by, let's say, practicing spiritual process, chanting, whatever this and that. We want Krishna Prema. Definitely, we have some expectations. But if we have material expectations, that's not so good. That's not so good because if you don't, let's say, like people, mostly, they go to the temples out of desire. Please Krishna give this, please Krishna give that. What if Krishna doesn't give, then what happens? What happens if Krishna doesn't give? Or maybe they will go somewhere else, maybe, yes. Or maybe Krishna will give, but after a few years, like delayed delivery. You know, that may also happen. But you won't wait for that, that's for sure. That's not, because sometimes Krishna may consider this is something that it's not good for this fellow. So maybe I'll give him when he's ready to deal with it. That's Krishna's point. Krishna is not like other demigods. Krishna will consider what to give and how much and where and how. Krishna is very personal. Others, they don't care. Whether it's good for you, not good for you, you want it, you did so, tapa, punya, dana, whatever, fine. Here it is. You deal with it. They don't care how it's going to affect you. Because it's all anyway a business transaction. But Krishna is much more personal. So he might not exactly and immediately give you what you want, what you desire. Because he's concerned about our bhakti, he's concerned about our real selves. Yeah. So, but that mentality of wanting something, like who told me, yesterday one girl came and she said, oh, I didn't study and I have these exams coming and yesterday there was exam and there was no way that I passed that exam. But somehow I prayed to Krishna, Krishna, if I pass this exam, I'll chant 64. And she passed. And she was like shocked, how is it possible? So then I said, so you're going to chant 64? And I said, oh no, now I have to. Yeah. I said, so when? It's like... Well, so try to remember this, because try to make sure that she really does promise what she said. No, Krishna made her pass. It's amazing. That's this whole failure completely. See, magic happens. Krishna does. But what if you don't pass? No. Then what? Oh, Krishna is not such a good Bhagavan. or what? What if you don't pass? So that's a big problem in spiritual practice, and that's not encouraged. How many people go to, well, okay, let's spell it straightforwardly. Balaji, most famous place for asking so many things. No? What if it doesn't happen? Suraj, you went. What, you didn't go last year? Come on, how many of you people went? Deepak, you went? No, then who went? Then I went. I didn't go. Huh? Huh? 3 only went. Anyway. Okay. No, that's different. You don't have to mention all your travels now. Where you see, I'm saying. So, and they ask for so many things. What if it doesn't happen? Then what will happen? Okay, what happens if desire is not fulfilled? And you're praying, you're saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. First of all, who told you that you have to do this and you have to do that and you'll get such a result? Where is that mentioned? That's another concoction, no? If I do this, then this has to happen. Who said? Where is it said? Where is it said? So you see how we impose so many things upon Balaji or Krishna or whatever. Who says? But anyway, so what if it doesn't happen? Then what? Then what happens? Anybody else is thinking? Think a little bit. What happens? It's a common sense thing. You come here, you pray for something, doesn't happen. Then what? What is the consequence? Don't look there. You, Bolo, think a little bit. What happens? You don't have that experience?
Then they become atheists.
Then we think why it didn't happen.
We think why it didn't happen. Okay, what else? Maybe we should pray better, no? Maybe Krishna didn't hear. We were not so eager or what? Okay, Suraj, well.
Our faith gets shaken.
Our faith gets shaken, no? Yes or no?
Yes.
Anything else? Bolo.
The thing which we asking for
The thing which we are asking for, then what?
is not favorable for us.
It's not favorable for us, maybe. That's too high. Any other thoughts? Most? Yes.
We may feel disappointment.
We may feel disappointment. That's the point. You lose the faith. Main thing it will happen, and you'll lose the faith. Said, what kind of Bhagavan is this? Like I said, Krishna is not giving. No, you lose the faith. But that's not the goal of this kind of practice. That's not the goal. That's why this is Kanishta mentality. Krishna doesn't respond immediately, then, I lose the faith. That's why there is example given of Narada Muni, who'd been told by Krishna. He said, I'm appearing now, but you won't see me again in this life. You won't see me again. And he tried. He tried to do the same thing, same process, same meditation, even more intensely. Krishna didn't show up. Krishna didn't show up. So what happened? He became disappointed and he stopped. He said, this process is useless, By this process, I cannot invoke Krishna. What do you think? Is this what he taught? No. Because he understood it's up to Krishna, whether he wants to appear or he doesn't want to appear. So he is the example of someone who is on the Madhyam platform. Somebody who's not on Kanishta platform. Kanishta platform, it's very neophyte platform where the faith is very weak. And if you don't get what you want, that faith is not just shaken, can be broken. And you stop practicing spiritual life. So Narad Muni is the example of someone who, in spite of not gaining what he wanted, he still continued practicing spiritual process. So that's from Nishtha onwards. His faith was steady. His faith was steady. So that's why this is the whole discussion here, that what happens to those, who take the process with full faith, but they don't get the result. What happens to them? As we said already, Arjuna is asking a very rational question. So okay, we won't go over it again and again and again. We have to read the purport and commentaries. So unless there is any last point from last discussion. Anything? Somebody was raising hand, I didn't recall. Yes.
Practical example of this verse is like your child is, the child is accepting Krishna consciousness in the early age. That is a practical example that he had spiritual evidence in next step also.
Okay, how do we know that somebody practiced spirituality? So we said that, we can see somebody takes to certain things immediately, picks it up, just like they're already so proficient in it. That comes from the previous life. Yoga brashta vijayate. Krishna said, Prapya punyam kritam loka ushitva shashoti sama chuchinam shrimatam gehe yoga brashta vijayate. So that one continues, there's nothing ever lost. Continues when one has stopped from somewhere. And that's obvious. We see that how initially there is that familiarity or drive or inspiration or taste, all of that comes because we continue from where we stopped. Okay. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gnanjana Shalaka Chakshumilitam Yana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishta Bhutale Bhakti Swaminitinam Namaste Saraswati Devi Brahmachana Visheshana Shtana Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Sari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Okay. Purport. The path of self-realization or mysticism is described in Bhagavad Gita. So that's what Bhagavad Gita is all about. Science of self-realization. To realize the self. But it has even more than that. It has that sambandha. It has also how to practice the process, and it points to the goal as well. So the basic principle of self-realization is knowledge that the living entity is not this material body, but that he is different from it, and that his happiness is in eternal life, bliss, and knowledge. So for us, that's an eternal discussion. We are not this body. You're not meant to be in this temporary, miserly body. We have to transcend it somehow or other. Somehow or other we have to, by process of knowledge, gain the understanding. At least theoretically, have nothing to do with this body. At least theoretically. Then hopefully in the course of time, by devotional service, we may solidify that theoretical understanding that it may become practical realized knowledge. We're not the body. Sometimes I heard some devotees, they had out-of-body experience. So that's a little better position. They really do have practical experience that they're not the body. Of course, but then you still think I'm the subtle body. That's even more difficult to renounce or differentiate from. It's not so difficult. When you fast, then you can realize that you're not your mind, which is demanding so many things. So some realizations might be there. But it's something that we have to keep on emphasizing over and over and over, because we forget. We start identifying with whatever comes along and it's connected to the body. So that's very detrimental in spiritual practice. That's why it's good. Srila Prabhupada always points out, because until you realize something, you have to keep on pointing it. It's the basics, it's the foundation of spiritual life. So we are different from the body because it's so obvious. We want eternal life. We want eternal bliss, no? We want absolute knowledge, but are we gaining any of that? No. Are we getting any of that? No. Are we experiencing any of that? No. So it's just so, it should be some common sense to understand it's not possible in this setup, material setup, with the material body surrounded by material energy. So that has to be clear. At least, as I said, theoretically. And then we may remain connected to the spiritual process, because what is there in material world? We are looking for some comfort for the body. We are looking for some recognition for the material position. We are looking for all the material temporary things. Sometimes we get a little bit, just some little pinch of taste so that it can drive us through that illusion further on. And most of the time we just don't get it. But you're so foolishly endeavoring for it. So we have to be very clear what is our position, what is our sambandha. So, body is different from the living entity. And we have to realize that our happiness, it's in eternal life, bliss, and knowledge. These are transcendental, beyond body and mind. Self-realization is sought by the path of knowledge, by the practice of the eightfold system of Bhakti, or by Bhakti Yoga. Okay, so in each of these processes, one has to realize the constitutional position of the living entity, his relationship with God, and the activities whereby he can re-establish the lost link and achieve the highest perfectional stage of Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada is mentioning both processes of yoga. He's mentioning dhyana yoga, he's mentioning bhakti yoga, but he points straight to the ultimate goal. He doesn't beat around the bush. He's not just saying you practice the process and then you get certain benefits out of it, but he said straightforwardly, one has to go back home, back to the spiritual world, re-establish his relationship with God. That's what yoga means. Connection, re-establish the link, and achieve the highest perfectional stage of Krishna consciousness. Following of the above mentioned three methods. So what are the three methods? What we just read now. Prabhupada said, following any of the above three methods, one is sure to reach the supreme goal sooner or later. So what are the three methods? Who had followed the discussion? What are the three methods mentioned so far in the purport? Yes? No.
In purport he's saying, or
Obviously.
previous verses are?
No. Okay.
Ashtanga yoga, dhyana yoga, and bhakti yoga.
Well, Ashtanga yoga, bhakti yoga, where was jnana mentioned?
Dhyana.
Dhyana is Ashtanga. Dhyana is part of the Ashtanga yoga, unseparated. Can we for a moment just focus our consciousness on the purport we have? Everybody has a purport here. So what is the third process? Bhakti, dhyana, and what else? So Prabhupada said, three methods. One is sure to achieve supreme goal. What is it? Okay, yes.
Jnana yoga.
Yes, path of knowledge, correct. Okay, so Suraj was right. Okay. So following any of the above mentioned three methods, one is sure to reach the supreme goal sooner or later. This was asserted by the Lord in the second chapter. Even a little endeavor on the transcendental path offers a great hope for deliverance. Out of these three methods, the path of Bhakti Yoga is especially suitable for this age because it is the most direct method of God realization. So Prabhupada doesn't deny other processes, but he says this one's more suitable. We have to be practical in life, no? What did Srila Prabhupada said? Preaching is the essence. What else he said? Yes. Purity is the force. Then, books are the basics. And what else? Yes. Yeah, that's the one. Utility is the principle. You have to learn how to be practical in life. Because if you're not, how are you going to get things done? You have to see what is practical, how to practically apply something to get some results. That one, it's really, one has to learn to have some common sense. Some idea that how do I use this knowledge, how do I use this, how do I use this practice and my experience, everything, and gain something out of it substantial. And additionally, that I can benefit others. So to be doubly assured, Arjuna is asking Lord Krishna to confirm his former statement. So what is that? Okay, doubly assured to confirm his former statement. One may sincerely accept the path of self-realization, but the process of cultivation of knowledge and practice of the Eightfold System are generally very difficult for this age. So Krishna, where does Krishna talk about Jnana Yoga so far? We are on the 6th chapter. Anybody knows this? Because it's a path of knowledge. What is path of knowledge? And even that knowledge you still have to have, even if you're practicing Jnana Yoga. That's very essential. That's what in the beginning Prabhupada was saying. So what is that knowledge? Where does Krishna talk about knowledge? This is 6th chapter. How well do we know Bhagavad Gita? Yes.
I'm just trying in 2nd chapter.
Okay, try.
Shankha philosophy, that is.
Okay, very good. It's the 2nd chapter, the knowledge of the soul. That is Dhyana Yoga. About 9 verses. 9-10 verses. 20 to 30, something like this. That's what else? There is one whole chapter entitled what? Which one? Nobody else knows. Yes. Chapter 4, yes. Transcendental knowledge. So there is so much that it's describing the knowledge, position of knowledge. So that's not easy part. And now so far we have only 10 verses left to complete this Dhyana Yoga chapter. This is 37th. So Arjuna has got some good overview of what is Dhyana Yoga. And of course, he knows what is Dhyana Yoga anyway. You know, what are the processes. But now Krishna summarizing presents the essence. And what he says, wow, that's a tough one. Both of those are difficult. Very difficult to follow, very difficult to practice, very difficult to expect to gain some result. It's pretty difficult. So now what to do? Generally, like Prabhupada said, this Eightfold Yoga system and the cultivation of knowledge are generally very difficult for this age. That's why, what kind of knowledge do we have? What kind of knowledge do we cultivate? Knowledge about what? Knowledge about latest scores of someone or something. Knowledge about latest, or latest or previous ones. We follow certain statistics, whether it be in any field or in any sphere of life or whatever. What kind of knowledge are we cultivating? Is that going to help us in any way? Spiritually, no. Definitely not. So even if we cultivate spiritual knowledge, that's not easy. Why? Because there are also 2 parts in that jnana process. Devotional and impersonal. No? Impersonal might be very, very complex. And it is very complex. And it's very demanding. Very demanding. I think it's easy. Not at all. Kleshadikaras-tesham avyakta-sakta-chetasam avyakto-higatir dukham dehavabdirvapyate. Very difficult. Very difficult. Krishna affirms that later on. So Arjuna is still confirming which process. You talked about so many processes. Which one should I take? Which one should I apply? Which one will give me the result that I don't have that fear that if I start something that I won't be able to complete? He wants to be very clear with this. So Prabhupada is pointing out, yes, these two are very difficult for this age. So therefore, despite constant endeavor, one may fail for many reasons. Many reasons are there. It's not easy. And we know if we fail, like again, yesterday, another girl, she came and said, yeah, I cleared first, the three levels you have to clear for CA. So cleared one, but failed few times on the second. And she's doubtful whether it will be possible to continue. It's pretty heavy. Then what you do, you make so much endeavor, and then you later start considering what other field should I take on. It's quite disturbing. It's quite discouraging, no? What you do, you make so much attempts. I don't know many. What is that? Anyway, you all know all kinds of funny exams that you have to give and gate and this and that, and I don't know, the cold and whatever, cat and mouse and this and that. Whatever. And you start studying, working so much, and then you fail. How do you feel after that? How do you feel after that? So she was also reluctant, then she mentioned something else, there's some other government exam or something, I forget. So now whether to study for this or not, it takes hard studies for 1 whole year. And then you don't pass again, what are you going to do? 1 year is wasted. It's not just time, it's so much energy, so much money. It's pretty heavy to deal with that, no? If life is filled with such failures, but then where is your hope? Where is your hope? And maybe that was your hope, and hope it's not fulfilled. And how do you feel then? It's pretty heavy, no? Anybody has that experience? You're working so hard for something and you don't accomplish it. It's pretty heavy. I know some boys, they wasted so many years. There was one funny case, one boy, what was that? Anybody knows? Here, I don't know. No, it's he was trying. This is really a joke. He attempted, like, there's some government exam, I forget which one it is. Felidam, in what did he study? Something in Delhi. He was studying for that.
UPSC.
What?
UPSC.
UPSC, whatever. Okay, whatever. And he failed like 4 or 5 times or something. And then he figured out, okay, I cannot pass, I'll teach that. And then he wrote, I have 5 years of experience. So good, amazing, no? Amazing. So that's, it's like, so somehow he could turn it into something positive, you might say, or whatever. But it's, how do you feel? You failed so many times, Because people want to be cheated, and then, you can cheat them. It's like, so unfortunate. So that's material life. That's material life. But if you would have known from the start, from the beginning, that there's no way, like we have another devotee here. Ooh, that's one of the better examples. Maybe I did mention, but I'll just. He attempted CA for 20 times. 20 times. And then he failed 20th time, and then he said, okay, now it's enough. You could have figured that out earlier. I was like, I think 10, 15 years he was trying. And he didn't pass. Because he's doing something else, working in some other company, this, that, but But that's heavy. How much endeavor just wasted? You want to waste your life like this, endeavoring for something that there's no guarantee of success? Who wants to do that? Anyway, so we went through this. So we pointed out, we said, Arjuna is definitely asking, he said, this yoga stuff, Ashtanga yoga, who's going to do that? Where is the guarantee of the success? Jnana yoga, by knowledge, by understanding, the Sankhya philosophy, the different elements, all the mutations and permutations and combinations or whatever it is, and how are you going to figure this all out? It's very difficult to understand the essence, to understand oneself, to understand the goal of life. So these are all very tough processes. Yeah. So one may endeavor so much and fail for so many. They're all reasons are against you in many ways. Yeah. So Arjuna is just asking a rational question. Why should I pursue all of those? So then Srila Prabhupada said, so first of all, one may not be sufficiently serious about following the process. So that's another thing. Are we serious? Are we ready? Or do we know what it involves to invest? That's another thing. Of course, even if you do and you do invest, then it's even greater disappointment. You lose something. We talked about losing something now, being cheated, being robbed, being something. How terrifying that feeling is. It's a pretty bad feeling. You lose something. One devotee, he was fired from the job in US working for Amazon because of envy. There were some local people who just couldn't tolerate his, being a program leader and coming up with some good ideas and stuff. So they make it's really ridiculous. They make very false accusations against him. Said that he's homophobic, which means he speaks against gay people or something. You can't do that. Just on basis of that, he was fired. And he said, if I would have worked for another week or two, if I would have resigned, I would get $25,000. Gone. Pretty heavy. That's not a nice feeling, It definitely puts you in a depression for a long period of time. $25,000, that's not a small amount. It's quite a nice amount of money. So just because of envy, they just see, but anybody can do anything. And that one person straightforwardly told him, that's too much for my false ego. They, of course, didn't say false ego. That's too much for my ego, So they just fired him. So it's pretty heavy. It's pretty heavy. You work so hard, you try to establish something, try to get good reputation, and then get out, get lost. And that's not like resignation or something. Fire, finding another job with such kind of, ending, that's like, it's pretty heavy. It's pretty heavy. So that's what happens in the material. You just never know. There's no guarantee for anything. Endeavor so much, and you're hoping that somebody will recognize your good attitude and, hard work that you did, and then you just get, something completely opposite. How many times it happens? How many times people misunderstand what you try to convey? So many things, but because that's the world of duality. That's the material world, the world of duality. And you have to learn how to get through all of that and still continue your devotional practice. So that's why Prabhupada said, so one may not be sufficiently serious about following the process. So in the spiritual life, you really have to, who is serious? How do we know who is serious? We come here, we just, of course, sometimes very casual, looking for some entertainment or some, maybe little knowledge, maybe little, but we really have to become serious. Why we have to become serious? Because listen now what Srila Prabhupada says. To pursue this transcendental path is more or less to declare war on the illusory energy. Wow. You have to become serious. You have to really become extremely serious. Otherwise, you won't survive. You won't survive. You have to be really ready. That's why nowadays, they don't go openly to the wars just like that. There's a lot of calculations behind going on. Are we ready for the war? That's what's going on right now. Many countries are calculating. Are we ready to get into the war? They want to get into war, but they're calculating. Are we ready? or we will, because we see, if you study a little bit some warfare, which I wasted my life a little bit doing it, you can understand that every war was lost because of insufficient, supply, funding, resources, and so forth. It's not about just desire, let's go and waste our lives. It's not just that, but it's, you have to have a good backup. And mostly all of the wars lost were because of lost resources, funding. That's all. So everybody's calculating now. If we get into it, can we finance it? That's the major thing. Nobody cares about, manpower, this and that. That they can figure out how to, pay off or whatever it is. It's just the major resource. It's the money. It's the money, because how much it costs nowadays? How much it costs? They're destroying so much of equipment. It's incredible, by the drones and this and that. It's heavy. It's just billions of dollars. Just swaha, 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 swaha. Yeah, billions of dollars, billions and billions, and it's the greatest impetus for modern economy. And that's what everybody wants. They want to first destroy everything, then we'll rebuild. Then you have a fresh economy coming up. But you'll have to destroy things and suffer the destruction. It's pretty heavy, but that's how it works. So everybody's calculating. If I get into the war, am I ready to survive? Am I ready to keep up? Am I ready to endure? Am I ready to come to the final conclusion somehow and get on top of it? It's a heavy calculation. So now, when you start practicing, that's Prabhupada is using this analogy, when you start practicing process of bhakti, you're declaring war an illusion. Because you want to know reality. You want to know what is truth. So are you sincere? You really want to know the truth? Then you get ready. Because you might be unpleasantly surprised what is truth and what is not truth. Are you ready for it? Are you ready to get things uncovered for you? To realize what we said, just the basic thing in a being, you're not this body. You're going to be very comfortable with that understanding? Are you ready for that? Or you still think, no, yes, I can be happy in this body and everything in connection to it. So this is a war. It's a serious war. One has to be ready. You don't go just like talking here, Arjuna. He doesn't go and he just casually shoots one arrow here, one arrow there or something. And he's, like talking to Krishna about so many spiritual things and this and that. No, he's on chariot, or he's chanting japa, meditating or something. He doesn't do that on the chariot. He's very fixed and focused. He knows any little inattention, it's gone. It's a very heavy focus that it's required, and attention in spiritual life also. We cannot allow ourselves any little negligence practically. So are we ready for that? Because if you are, you might not reach the goal. You'll be dislodged from your path. You may fall from the path. That's why we have association. That's why devotee association is so essential, because we don't see when we do something wrong. We may become covered. Just like now, one video is circulating around. Deepak knows, can ask him. You don't know, anyway. Okay, good. It might be, you may say it's a silly thing. It is a silly thing, but it's a very serious thing. You can get on a trip of considering yourself to be something that you're not. And that's part of illusion that bewilders us and makes us, falsely proud, even though we may act very humbly. And that's something that will destroy our spiritual position. So it's a war with Maya. It's not just gross, it's very subtle. All kinds of weapons are included. All kinds of weapons of Maya that will agitate, weapons of lust, weapons of greed, weapons of anger, envy, madness, illusion. So many different kinds of weapons are there. that will distract us from real goal that we are supposed to reach. You know? So we have to be very, very cautious. So that's why, despite constant endeavor, one may fail for many reasons. So to pursue the transcendental path is more or less to declare war on the illusory energy. Consequently, whenever a person tries to escape the clutches of the illusory energy, she tries to defeat the practitioner by various allurements. So Maya will test us. Are we serious? Are we serious? And then, once you know this, but isn't it better to be illusion, or it's better to know all the pitfalls and traps? Yeah. So we should know how Maya acts. That's the whole process of spiritual education. We should know what are the tricks of Maya. We have to know this. Otherwise, it's not easy to overcome all these different allurements of material energy. We have to be always conscious of it. You have to know what, and again, even as I said, we might sometimes lapse to some extent, but then we should be in a good association. Somebody who can point out, how many times devotees get, oh, why did you say this? It's for our good, we should learn that. Somebody is pointing out something that we become covered with material energy, and obviously we don't see. So we should be grateful, like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj said. He said that one who criticizes me is my friend, and one who flatters me is my enemy. Think about that. Think about that. Once he was lamenting, somebody died, and he said, wow, my friend is going, and then everybody, but he was criticizing somebody. He said, yes, he was my friend because he was pointing where I can improve. Yeah. So that should be the mentality. So if we try to run away, then Maya will definitely run away from Maya, then Maya will definitely try to bring us back. Like anybody running away from the jail or something, immediately they'll try to catch you, bring you back. If you're not released as a rectified person, if you're not discharged, honorably, so better to practice for that. So if you try to just escape Maya, you're not ready, you won't have a hope. You won't have a chance, especially against Maya, who is she's everywhere. So a conscious soul is already allured by the modes of material energy, and there is every chance of being allured again, even while performing transcendental disciplines. This is called yoga chalita manasa, deviation from the transcendental path. So even while practicing, we may deviate, and we might not notice how we have deviated, being covered by the modes of material nature. Arjuna is inquisitive to know the results of deviation from the path of self-realization. So that's what Arjuna wants to know. He wants to hear, what is it that even if I don't succeed, what will happen? If I start, I'm sincere, what will happen? So let's see what Krishna says next time. What is the answer? Okay, any questions on this? Yes. Last point, we have to become serious, okay? That's not the last point, but... So, how we can understand if we are serious, but how we embrace this process? How much time and energy we give to it? It's everything. How much you invest, you're going to get back. You cannot expect, oh, I'm going to get so much back and I hardly invest anything. You can clearly understand what is your investment. Otherwise, Maya is going to swallow you up, chew you up, and spit you out. That's all. Yeah, not very nice. So we have to be really cautious. We're really, really cautious. We have to be ready. We have to know, okay, and we have to keep on reminding ourselves. It's not that you can allow yourself any leniency. Absolutely not. Every moment you can fall in Maya. Every moment. It's not like I did so much bhakti in the past and now I can relax. Doesn't work like that. Every moment you have to be Krishna conscious, because as soon as you're not Krishna conscious, you're Maya conscious. That's it, you're Tatashta Shakti. Like Prabhupada said, there's nothing in between. As a person, there is a shadow. There is a Krishna, there is Maya. If you're not with Krishna, Maya will embrace. That's what Prabhupada said. There's nothing in between. So if you're not Krishna conscious, you can immediately understand, I'm in Maya. I'm in Maya. And then your illusion may just go downwards, more and more, trapped, and pulled away from Krishna. So, okay, then we'll continue discussion next time. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.